स्मृतापि तरुणातपं करुणया हरन्ती नृणाम् अभङ्गुरतनुत्वषां बलयिता शतैर्विद्युतां कलिन्दगिरिनन्दिनी तटसुरद्रुमालम्बिनी मदीय मतिचुम्बिनी भवतु कापि कादम्बिनी. So Ape Dikshitasya Khandanam Prachalan Nasti. Yeah. So he is trying to talk about why there is a problem with Ape Dikshita's interpretation of the shloka. The shloka is a Dhvani shlokam, that is Nisheshachyuta Chandanam Nirmrishta Ragodharaha ityatra. He points out that it is a Dhvani shloka, but then the way Chitramamsakara has explained it, there is an issue with that explanation and the way he arrives at his conclusion. The problem is Vyanjaka Shabdaha Vartante, Vyangya Arthaha Vartante. Eka eva Vyanjaka Shabdaha, Tatra Shabdasya tu Bahavo Arthaha Santi. There can be many different meanings for, or it can give rise to many different suggestions, not in the sense of Shlesha. What I'm saying is Vyanjaka Shabda can give rise to different kinds of Vyangyartha, suggested meaning. For example, when we take this Nishesha Chuta Chandana, Nirmrishta Raga Adharaha, there can be different reasons for such an expression in that shloka. So if the Chandana Chutihi tu tatra asit iti chet, kimartham, katham tatra Chandana Chutihi asit. So there can be different reasons. One is snanena, athava sambhogena, athava vastra pranchanena. You can also take a cloth and wipe it off. That is also possible. The fact that there can be so many different suggestions is our necessary tool for Vyanjana. But by Ape Dikshita, when he says that each of these Visheshanas are not sadharanyam, they are not common for all these meaning, but it becomes asadharanyam. When you say that the Vyanjaka Shabda gives one asadharanyam meaning, that is, it exclusively points only to one direction, then the very idea of Vyanjana is lost. So here he takes another shloka and gives the meaning. The shloka he takes is Aunidriyam Daurbalyam Chinta Alasatvam Sanishwasitam Mama Manda Bhaginyaha Krite Sakhi Twamapi Paribhavati. Here the words are very clear. There are a couple of states that she is describing, the Nayika is describing about the Duti. She is saying you also are suffering from sleeplessness, daurbalyam, chinta, alasatvam, ityadikam tu tvayapi anubhuyate, parantu mama krite iti. But then she also understands, because it is a Vaktra Vaishishtyam, because the person who talks about it is an Uttama Nayika, and she is talking to the Duti who has also gone there. We have so much of background, and that is why we are able to say that she is Chamatkara Rupena Satu Evam Vyanakti iti. She is trying to suggest these things in a very beautiful manner so that she doesn't want to tell people that her Nayaka, her Pati or Nayaka has cheated. So she says it in a very disguised manner. That is the whole point there. But if each word becomes indicative of only one thing, then the point of Marekkirdu, it is not an incident that has to be told to everybody. Prakashyam nasti tatra. So prakashya rupa gatana nasti, aprakashyam vartitavyam, tatra guptam vartitavyam chet, tatra kimartham asadharanyam vaktavyam. So since you have to conceal the whole matter, which means you will have to say it in a manner that any normal person who doesn't know the whole thing will not understand what is going on. They will probably see that, oh, poor Duti, she is such a great friend that she is also suffering from the same problems. She is so concerned about her. That is the attitude that the other people have to understand. If they also start understanding that anaya sambhoga kritaha iti yadi tesham manasi api vartate, then the point of Gupta Kathanam is lost there. So that is why we need that sadharanyam for Vyanjaka Shabda to Vyangyartha. It should be common for many meaning. So, ityadahu sadharananameva aunidriyanam वक्त्रादि वैशिष्ट्य वशात् अर्थ विशेष व्यंजकतायाः अभ्युपपत्तेः. We have taken व्यंजकता, that is the quality of these words, औन्निद्र्यम् etc., to be a व्यंजक. अदाद these words have the quality of being a व्यंजक शब्द इति कथम अभ्युपपद्यते अस्माभिः वक्तृवैशिष्ट्यात् अर्थविशेष व्यंजकत्वं वर्तते. Not because the word itself has the capability of revealing only one meaning. It is not a unidirectional meaning for us. It is only by the circumstance and people who understand this Nayika, understand what the Dhyuti has done, then we come to the conclusion that, oh, it could be this also, that also. But see, she is actually Kuttika Mikra. She is actually indicating what this girl has done. That is, you need that sadharanyam of all these words, aunidryam, etc. Okay? Pratyuta asadharanyasya vyapti aparaparyayasya anumana anukulataya vyakti pratikulatvat cha. The other point that we want to say is, if we talk about asadharanyam, then you have to resort to anumanam and not vyanjana. Pratyuta asadharanyasya, if I am saying that there are several meanings, but eteshu arteshu tu badhitatvam vartate, atraiva asmin arte eva tatra paryavasyati iti chet. If I say that there are so many meanings, these meanings won't fit, but nishesha chyutam iti uktatvat, it has to be sambhoga. When we are trying to confine to that meaning, then you are actually adopting anumanam. So vyapti aparaparyayasya, it is a vyapti. This cannot fit, only this fits because this had happened. You are giving a hetu statement, you are giving a parvato vanniman dhumat. You are actually giving a hetu sadhyam, etc., etc. It is more suited for anumanam. Anumana anukulataya vyakti pratikulatvam. Vyakti vyanjana pratikulam. It becomes pratikulam for or viparitam for vyanjana. So we need sadharanyam and not asadharanyam. Okay. Atha. So what is this vyanjaka? Asadharanyam. He goes back to the shloka in discussion. Nishesha Achyuta Chandanam. Atha tatadi ghatitatve api na nishesha ityadi vakyarthanam asadharanyam salila ardra vasana karanaka pronchanadina api tat sambhavat iti chet. So tatadi ghatitatve api asadharanyam. So the first he is trying to say, I said asadharanyam will not work. Tata, the padam tata is there. Stana tatam iti. Because stana tatam is there, nishesha ityadi vakyarthanam asadharanyam nasti. There is no asadharanyam. There are many different meanings that we can say, yes, but still chutam will indicate only tadantikam gatasi iti. Sambhogam. It will only indicate sambhogam. I am not denying the fact. Say, Apayadikshita might come about and say, no, I am not talking about asadharanyam. It is not exclusive, but there are other meanings also to it. Like, for example, salila, water could have washed it away, or a wet cloth could have washed it away. So there are so many other things that are possible. So I am not confining the meaning of this to only one thing, which is sambhoga. Iti Apayadikshita might come about with such a explanation. So what is he saying here? Tatadi ghatitatve api, even though there are words like tata, etc., nishesha in the now, for now you circle it because you are going to take it somewhere else. Nishesha ityadi vakyarthanam asadharanyam na asti. Anga potukanu. You always put the nanya end at the end. The words nishesha, etc., for that nishesha chuta chandanam iti vakyasya arthasya tu asadharanyam nasti. I am not saying giving an exclusivity for that meaning. There can be two other meanings also. What are the two other meanings? Salila, ardra, vasana, karanaka, pronchanadina. So jalabindu patat. So I can have water that is coming about, and because the water has fallen on my on a towel, and with that towel I have used it. Vasanam is some cloth. So salilena ardri kritam vasanam. The cloth is very wet, and with that I am doing a pronchanam. I'm wiping off that chandanam. So initially, before getting into snanam, I wipe off everything and then got into snanam. So that could also be the reason. I am not saying exclusivity. Iti prayaha tatra apedikshitanam uttaram bhavet. It is possible. Iti chet, if you are going to argue in this manner, tarhi, now here our Jagannatha Pandita Rasagangadhara starts. Tarhi, vapi snana vyavartanena kaf purusharthaha. So what are you achieving by only excluding vapi snanam? Why didn't you exclude vastra pronchanam also? Why only vapim snatum ito gatosi na punastasya damasyantikam? So what happens is, when Appaya Dikshita is trying to explain, he says, Vapi snana vyavartakartam chuta padam uktam nirmrishta padam uktam iti. That is his explanation. Why are you only negating vapi snanam and you are not negating vastra pronchanam? Kaf purusharthaha tatra. What is the reason for the enna periya kandutangra madri? Adamatram elakarathula. Right? Ekatra, and if there is a vyabhichara in one place, there can be vyabhichara in many places. If it is contradicting to one place, it is a contradiction to many places also. Then why are you only negating one place? Why are you not listing every possible actions and saying, no, all of these possible actions are not possible, only this is possible. Sambhoga eva tatra bhavidavyam iti. You are not... so there are different things that are possible that can come to the mind of other people. He is a person who doesn't even understand all this Vyangyartha, the situation, nothing. Someone who just takes things at face value. What will he understand by this? He'll say, look at that Dhuti, she didn't even do what this Nayika said. Poor girl, this Nayika. Maybe someone else will come and help her to take the message to that Nayaka. So that is also possible there, right? So ekatra anaikantikattvasya, anaikantikam is a dosha here. So bahushu anaikantikatayaha api jnatayaha anumiti pratikulatvat vyakti apratikulatvat cha. When you are saying that it is vapi snana vyavrityartham, tarhi sambhogaha eva tatra pravrittaha, and because of that only the chandanam has gone, then you are confining it to one. But ekatra anaikantikasya, when you have confined it to only one thing, but that is actually there are 2-3 other places also possible. Bahushu anaikantikatayaha jnatayaha. I understand that the same result can occur because of many other places also. But those are not the reasons that we need here. Those are all the other Vyangyarthas that are possible. And it is known. So, Bahushu Anaikantikataya, this problem is present in many other places also. And when we know those places exist, tarhi, if we know that one vapim snatum ito agatosi, napunastasya dhamasyantikam, from that we know that there are so many other things that are possible, then it becomes pratikulam, contradictory or virodham for anumiti. Why is that? Because anumiti rests on only one sadhyam with one hetu. Yeah. There is an asadharanyam with respect to anumiti. Asadharanyam, na, it cannot exist where, when I say agnihi tatra jwalati or dhumaha parvato vanniman, kimartham dhumat. I see dhuma and I say there is a fire there. That there is a definite concomitance between the two of them. Adada vyapti. There is a definite vyapti between vanhi and dhuma. Because I have seen it in several places, I know that if there is smoke, there has to be vanhi. I cannot conclude that, oh, there is smoke, so probably there is some other thing that is going on. Maybe someone is just pumping smoke out there. Tatha, I can't bring out those things in Anumana. Anumana rests on the principle that there is only one hetu for this particular sadhyam. If I have to prove this sadhyam, then I need this hetu. That invariably both should exist together is a definite presence in Anumiti. For Vyakti, it is Apratikulam. I can have it in many places. Pratikulam nale contradictory. Now, this case wherein the Nishesha Chutatvam or Nirmrishtatvam, all of these things are possible in many different areas, and that is what I want for Vyanjana. I want so many different meanings for it. That is the beauty of suggestion. Whereas, by the description of what Apaya Dikshita does, he is confining it to only certain particular thing, and he is actually giving way for Anumana people. And he is removing the possibility of Vyanjana. Yeah. Next, Apicha, Atra. Now he moves on to what is the type of Vyangyam that is there. Now there are two things that are said in the Vyangya Shariram. From the Nishesha Chuta Chandanam Shloka, Vapim Snatum Ito Gatosi Napunas Tasyaadhamasyantikam Ityasti. So from there, what are the two things that are given as Vyangya by Kavya Prakashakara in Mamata in Kavya Prakasha? He says, Tadantikameva Rantum Gatasi. Apicha, Atrahi, Tadantikameva Rantum Gatasi iti Vyangya Sharire Tadantika Gamanam. Number one. Ramanarupaka phala amshaha cha iti dvayam ghatakam. There are two portions in the Vyangyartha. What is the first portion? Tadantikam gata. The second one is Ramanam. Sambhogaha. So these are two aspects in the Vyangya Shariram. Now, Rasagangadhara takes both of these aspects and says, what is the problem with Apaya Dikshita's interpretation with these two Vyangyartha? Tatra tavat, in these two amshas, tad antikam gatasi iti amshasya tvanmate Vyangyatvam durupapadam. It is very difficult to bring out the meaning of tadantikam gata, adavadu nayakantikam gata asi iti vyangyamshaha tu Apaya Dikshita mate tu durupapadam. It is very difficult to bring it out. He gives the reason here. What is the reason that he gives? Twaduktaritya visheshana vakyarthanam nishesha ityadi pratipadyanam vachyarthe vapi snane badhitatvat. That is one reason. What happens? The result of that is the second one. The result of that is we have to go into Lakshana. Vachya kaksha gata pradhana vakyarthi bhuta vidhi nishedha pratipadakabhyam gata na gata iti shabdabhyam virodhi lakshanaya nishedhasya vidhehe cha pratitehe upapattehe. So he is talking about Viparita Lakshana here. What is Viparita Lakshana? An example in Kavya Prakasham which you have read is probably Upakritam Bahuta Tatra Sakhe Suhrit Abdin or Shlokam. Wait, let me just pick that out because it will be easier to connect with that. Upakritam Bahutatra Kimuchyate Sujanata Prathita Bhavata Aparam. Vidadat idrishameva sada sakhe sukhitaha asva tataha sharadam shatam. You have done so much of upakaram for me. Upakritam bahutatra. Pa, enna karyam panitani. Appadina enna andha edathila vandu it's actually the opposite meaning. It's not, he is sarcastically saying romba help pantappo appadina. Not in a genuine manner, right? So it's a sarcastic way of saying, Kimuchyate sujanata prathita. You have actually shown that you are such a good person. Vidadat idrishameva. You are constantly doing only the same thing. Sada sakhe. Doing this sort of upakaram, you will live for a long time. Tari sukhitaha. Abdina, every word has a viparitam tatra. Apakritam bahutatra. You have given me so much of trouble because you have betrayed me. So, pratita durjanata. Because you are a durjana, you have shown your bad nature towards me by betraying me. Because you are doing such a betrayal always, you will never live happily. Dukkhitaha bhavishyasi iti. So that is the vyangyartha there. But then that is the lakshana. It is actually viparita lakshana. Why is that viparita lakshana? Because this shlokam, the mukhyartham is badhyate. People know that she has actually betrayed her. Because of that betrayal, if someone says upakritam bahutatra, then that is badhitam. Vachyartha badaha, mukhyartha badaha vartate tatra. So it is completely negated. It won't fit. She has actually been betrayed, but the person who has been betrayed now talks about the other person as someone who has done a great favor. That will not fit. So mukhyartha se badaha bhavati. Because the mukhyartha is badhitatvam, vaktra vaishishtyat, we take the opposite meaning there. And we say upakritam na kintu apakritam. The same way here also, Apedikshita's method, if we take, it is Viparita Lakshana here. So, Twadukta Ritya, by the way you have said itself, Visheshana Vakyarthanam Nishesha Ityadi Pratipadhyanam Vachyarthe Vapi Snane Badhitatvat. Because since you said Nirmrishta Ragadharaha, Nishesha Chuta Chandanam, Atra Vapi Snana Vyavrityartam. I am removing the cause of Vapi Snanam. Iti Bhavatayeva Uktatvat. Because you yourself have said that these words do not indicate Vapi Snanam, but it indicates Sambhogam, which means you are saying the Vachyartha Vapi Snatum ito gato asi. That portion is badhitam. So, vapi snane vachyarte visheshananam balena, because of the visheshanas chuta, nirmrishta, etc., etc., the vapi snanam is badhitam. So, what happens now? Vachya kakshagatha pradhana vakyarthi bhuta vidhi nisheda pratipadakabhyam. Itaha gata asi. Na gata asi tasya adamasya antikam. So there are two portions here. Vapim gata, nayakam na gata. These are the two things. Vapim gata iti vidhi vakyartham. Vachya kaksha gatam garche arthattila irukakudiyadu. Vachya pakshe, artha pakshe, pradhana vakyarthaha kaha tatra vapim snatum gata ityatratu vidhi purvakam vartate. So the vidhi, nisheda, nale, vidhi, you are prompting someone to do something, whereas nisheda is you are negating their action, negative and positive. So atra vapim gata, you have gone to that lake to take a bath, is a vidhi vakyam. So vidhi vapim gata. Now, this is virodhi lakshanaya. Because of viparita lakshana, and because you said these visheshanas indicate that she did not go to vapi, what happens to the lakshyartha that we get? Nishedhaha bhavati. Right? So, nishedhasya pratitehe vidhi vachyarthasya vidhehe viparita lakshanaya Nisheda rupaha gamyate, Nisheda rupaha lakshyate. Then which means the word in the vakyartham, which is your abhida or the standard meaning is vapim gata, but you take it as just like upakritam, you take the meaning as apakritam, in the same way nagata, ityagatam. Now, nishedha rupam. What is the nishedha rupam that is there? This nishedha is adamasya antikam nagata iti. So, Nisheda pradipadakasya or nisheda pratipadakena na gata iti shabdena virodhi lakshanaya vidhehe eva pratitehe. So there are two things that he has just combined in this one sentence. You just split it into two sentences. Vachya pakshe, vachyarthe vidhina gata iti shabdena virodhi lakshanaya viparita lakshanaya Nishedhasya vapim snatum na gata ityeva tatra pratitihi bhavati. Clear? When you go through the nishedha, which is adhamasya antikam nagata, tarhi nayakasya antikam nagata, iti shabdena, what is happening? Viparita lakshanaya, vidhehe pratipattihi bhavati, pratitihi bhavati. So, tasya antikameva gata. Now, this whole thing has been reduced to a viparita lakshana, and you are completely removing Vyangyam from the picture. He is pointing out so many different ways of problems in the argument of Apayadikshita. Right? Now, nahi mukhyartha badhena unmilite arthe vyaktivedyata uchita. No, there is another possibility, right? There is lakshana gamyatvena vyanjana. There is a lakshana, then the prayojanam is known through vyanjana, right? Mukhyartha badhe unmilite arte. When there is a mukhyartha badham, vyakti vedyata na uchita. When there is a badha, ipenardu, vapim snatum na gata, tasya adamasya antikam eva gata. Both of these are solved by lakshyartha. What is the prayojanam here then? For us to bring in vyanjana, there is no prayojanam there. Everything is known through the vachyartha and the lakshyartha. Vachyarthasya badhitatvam vartate, mukhyartha badhaha, then unmilite arte, lakshyarthena, lakshanaya bodhite arte. Sati, when the artham is known through lakshana here, then what is the use of vyanjana vedyatvam? Yeah, there is no prayojanam there. Ada. So nahi mukhyartha badena unmilite arte itukte lakshyarthe unmilite sati sayeva lakshyarthasya vyakti vedyata na uchita. In the now kondu pinadi potukongo. This a word, a meaning which has been brought out by lakshana cannot again be known through vyanjana. It is not appropriate for us to say that it is known through vyanjana. Acha. Next. Yatha, the meaning there, he brings out another example here. He says, Aho purnam saraha yatra luthantaha snanti manavaha ityatra kartru visheshana anupapatya anupapatti adhina ullase purnatva abhave. Purnatva abhave abhave munnadi idu eduthukano vyakti vedyata na uchita iti. To complete that sentence, this is just an example to illustrate the earlier sentence where he said, when you have known something through lakshana, you can't again assume a vyanjana vyapara for that. It cannot be known through vyanjana vyapara. Okay. Now, what is the example he gives here? Purnam saraha. There is a lake which is very full. Yatra manavaha lutantaha snanti. Poraldradhu nartham. Lutantaha nale verumna abdi poraldradhu. That is, you are just rolling yourself in the water. The lake is full. All the people are rolling in that water, not taking a deep dip into the water. Illa. So what is he actually saying? That there is no water there. It is not full. If it was full, tarihi manavaha nimajjanti iti uchyate. Natu lutantaha snanti iti. Right? Atratu, there is no jalam, there is so little jalam that they cannot even take a proper dip inside the water. When there is no water in Kaveri, you just go there and just for prokshanartham athava punyartham tatra kurmaha khalu. There are some people who will just, as if they are trying to take a bath, they will just roll in that mud and then they will pour water on themselves, outside water. That is what is happening here. Parantu, the way he is saying is purnam saraha iti. Then that purnatvam is badhitam there because of the visheshana lutantaha iti. Kartru padam tu atra manavaha. Okay. Kartru padasya visheshanam lutantaha manavaha. Those men who are rolling. Kartru visheshana anupapatti. That rolling part will occur only if there is very little water and fully muddy water. Only then you can roll in that water. Otherwise, you will have to take a bath or a dip inside the water. You can't just roll in a the swimming பண்றச்சே அப்படியே rolling பண்றவா அதெல்லாம் இல்ல. That is not what they are trying to say. It is a place where there is very little water such that the moment you try to dip, you are only lying flat and rolling yourself on that muddy water. That is how it is. So the kartra visheshana padam, which is lutantaha, is not possible anupapatti adhina ullase. Because of it is not being possible, you then take the ullasa or the lakshyartha of purnatva abhavaha. Okay, purnatvam tu tatra badhitam vartate. Katham badhitam vartate? Lutantaha iti visheshana balat. Luthanam is not possible if there is purnam saraha. Nimajjanam eva shakyate. Atra nimajjanam nasti yataha snana uchita jala abhavaha. So purnatva abhavaha. Ullasaha, here you take it as lakshanikaha bodhaha. So the lakshyartha bodha that happens here is purnatva abhavaha. In the same manner you apply it to our sthalam also. Viparita lakshana. Atha tadantika gamanasya lakshana vedyatve api ramanasya. Now he comes to the second part. Idu varaikum pudinjirudhu illaya? You've understood what is the first part. So tadantikam gatasi, rantum gatasi. There are two parts there. So there is a antika gamanam, going to him. The second part is ramanam, which is enjoying with him. That is the second part. Now the first part is not possible because in the way you have explained it, like how purnam saraha, there is a visheshana padam there, lutantaha, which gives me purnatva badhaha, and then I go to purnatva abhavaha as viparita lakshanarthaha. In the same manner, Apayadikshita has said that nishesha chyutatvam, nirmrishtatvam, all these visheshanas give me a badhitatvam for vapim snatum gata, and then I go to the by viparita lakshana, I go to the nishedava artham of vapim snatum na gata. So I have explained that vyangyamsha as viparita lakshana in your matam, in Apayadikshita's matam. Now he goes to the second part, ramanamshaha. Atha tadantika gamanasya lakshana vedyatve api. Okay, tadantika gamanam tu aduna viparita lakshanaya uktam. We have explained that and we understand it only through lakshana. Let that be. What about the second part? Ramanasya phalamshasya lakshya shakti moola dhvanana vedyatvam avyahatameva. You cannot deny the fact that ramanam, rantum gata, ramanamshaha, that sambhoga amshaha is known through lakshana moola dhvani. Why am I going through idu viparita lakshana? There is a prayojanam there. The prayojanam is ramanamshaha, sambhogaha. So that sambhoga is I am arriving at that meaning through lakshana moola dhvani. Lakshya shakti, which is lakshana moola dhvani. Lakshyartha bodhika ya shaktihi vartate lakshana, tal lakshana eva moolam vartate dhvananasya. அப்படி புரிஞ்சுக்கணும் அத. லக்ஷ்ய சக்தி மூல துவனன வேத்யத்வம். I understand this meaning of ramanam through dhvananam, through dhvani, which is suggestion, and that suggestion has its moolam, base, on lakshya shakti, which is lakshana. Tattu avyahatam, you cannot deny that. This is again Apayadikshita's method. He's presupposing that Apayadikshita would answer like this probably, because there was no direct connection between the two of them. One was in 1500s, the other was in 1700s, so there is no possibility of meeting. But he assumes probably Apayadikshita would give this as an answer. Tarhi ramanamshaha tu dhvani rupena eva vartate lakshana moola dhvanihi bhavatu nama iti chet. Now he explains that part. The answer for that is adhamatvam aprakrishtatvam taccha jatya karmanava bhavati. இப்போ இதுக்கு மூலம் எங்க இருந்து எடுத்துக்கணும்னா, the way you have to look at it is அதமபதேன அப்படின்னு இருக்கு. இந்த காவிய பிரகாசக்காரர் என்ன சொல்றார்? அதமபதேன ஏவ ஞாயத்தே அப்படிங்கிற. Tadantikam tadantikam vapim snatum na gata tadantikam rantum eva tadantikam gata asi iti adhamapadena adhamapadaha tu atra vyanjakaha iti uktam. Kavya Prakashatla Paathalna, you will find that sentence there, adhamapada. Now that adhamapada becomes your vyanjakam for ramanamshaha. Okay, that is Sambhoga. Sambhoga is known because she is saying that he is such a bad person, and that is why she needn't have said that about the Nayaka. But the way she says, Adhamasya antikam na gata, you did not go to that bad person, right? That becomes a Vyanjaka here. Now he says, Adhamatvam tu aprakrishtatvam. Prakrishtam na osatti, utkrishta. Aprakrishta, nichaha. Nichatvam uchyate. Nichatvam, where did this nichatvam come for him? Tacha jatya karmanava bhavati. How can someone be named as adhamaha? He can be named as a lowly person either by jati, pirappileye. Janmana eva saha adhamaha. Athava kimapi karyam tena kritam tasmadeva tasya adhamatvam vartate. Tari jatya karmanava saha adhamaha bhavati. Tatra jatya apakarsham nasti. He says you cannot call him an adhama by birth itself, because if he was a bad person by birth, then this Nayika won't like him. She is an Uttama Nayika. Uttama Nayika Nayakasya vadati. It is we are talking about an Uttama Nayika and a Nayaka, natu dhurtaha. It is not a Durjanaha or a Vitaha. Yeah. We are talking about an Uttama Nayika and an Uttama Nayakaha eva. If he was apakrishtaha, if he was adhamaha from jati, that would not fit in this case. So jatya we remove. Ityadina sandarbhena bhavata eva arthapatti vedyatayaha sputam vachanat. Ipa idiyum vandu problem solra. Because Apedikshita comes about with the thing that the way he explains it, he says, Uttamanayika atra vadati iti karanat, jatya saha adhamaha nasti, tasmat karmana eva adhamatvam vaktavyam. Abdina, the process by which he comes to that karmana adhamatvam is actually a pramanam called arthapatti pramanam. What is this arthapatti pramanam? Arthapatti, it is another form of deduction. Nayayikas do not accept this arthapatti pramanam, because they will put it under Anumana, whereas for Vedanta, Advaita, etc., other many matas accept this Arthapatti Pramanam. There is also an Alankara based on this Arthapatti Pramanam. What is this Arthapatti Pramanam? You have a certain case that is there, which you see. The most common example is only because there are many people who will give you this example for Arthapatti. Pino Devadattaha. Kaschanato tatra sthulaha vartate. He is very fat, or he's got a large body. Divana bhunkte. But I have been observing him for 16 hours during his waking time. He has not had even one morsel of food. Diva na bhunkte. Tarhi katham evam bhavitavyam. How is it possible for him to be sthulatvam tatra katham praptam? Iti chet ratri bhojanam arthapatya anumiyate or arthapatya avagamyate. Vedyate. You understand through arthapatti pramana. The same manner here also, saha jatya tu adhamaha na bhavitavyaha. Because it's not possible for him to be an adhama by jati, because esha tu uttamanayika, ayantu nayakaha. So it is not possible for him to be adhamaha by birth. So I infer him to be an adhama by karmana. Adnala, there is an arthapatti pramanam which you have said, which Apedikshita himself has said. That's what he says. Which means Ramanamsha again comes to be proved through Attapatti and not Vyanjana. One is because of Viparita Lakshana, the other comes under Arthapatti. So, Jatya apakarsham na uttamanayika nayakasya vadati So Uttama Nayika Jatya Apakarshan Nayakasya na vadati. An Uttama Nayika would not talk of a person, a Nayaka would not talk to a person who is Jatya Apakrishtaha. Ityadina Sandarbena. Because of this context that we are presented with, Bhavatayeva Arthapatti Vedyatayaha Sputam Vachanatu. You yourself have mentioned this, and this is the format of an Arthapatti Pramanam. Yeah. So, Ananyalabhyasya cha shabdartatayaha asvikrutehe. Abdina anyalabhyasya shabdartayaha svikrutehe. We are taking something that cannot be arrived at by this is actually arrived at by something else. Clear? Jatya adhamatvam tu evam na duti sambhogaha is our arthapatti pramanena. What is the inference that we come to? Duti sambhogaha. Yeah, that is our inference. So what is the process through which he goes to the inference? I am to jatya na diva na bhungte abdingra madri. We say jatya I am ana adhamaha. Tari karmana kimapi adamatvam tena kritam. We come to that conclusion. That's what he says here. Yeah. Ananya labhyasya. That which cannot be brought by something else. That shabdartha we cannot take. So we are doing only something which is brought by something else. Right? That is divana bhungte iti shabdarthena ratri bhojanam yatha svikriyate तथा जात्या अयं न अधमः इति अनेन दूते संभोगः स्वीक्रियते. Is it clear? Vyanjana bodhyatvam na bhavati. If you are able to bring it through this, then why do you have to go to Vyanjana there? Yeah. So we'll probably stop with this. Apicha yatha katanchit angi kuruva ama. Idinnu koncham. In the Antapatti, I will start again and then we will go over. Is that okay?